the imagery that here we are 35, 40 years later, and they're still on the stage doing it.
Well, I mean, that's, and that's sort of one of those things that we learned from very early on is that, and even preparing for this record to come out, is that, Kiss is a perfect example of a band that worked very hard and, in my opinion, probably the hardest working band in rock and roll music of the last 35 years, because you're talking about somebody that not just went out on stage and did a show, but they were, tirelessly planning for shows that they were going to build and, also working on the merchandising end and doing all that stuff, and don't really received any respect for their music. But I think that that's honestly because so many people, especially people that are going out there to review records, are so fickle and silly, and they look at a haircut or they look at makeup and they're completely turned off because let's be honest, there are very few people that review rock and roll albums that are actually rock and roll themselves. They're people that, they're listening to a metal album and they're going home and listening to Emerson, Lake and Palmer. It's not, their heart is not there. Mm-hmm. And so, when our record came out, we were very much prepared, and we all kind of said that, we don't give a shit, excuse my language, we don't care if people don't like our record. What we want is the people that genuinely, the people that love rock and roll and our fans, we want them to understand and like the record. But reviewers, we don't really care, and, it's nice to get a positive review, but if every reviewer in the world hates our record, that's fine with me. People that are supposed to like it are digging it, and they get something out of it, that's cool.
Right. And something else that happens with bands who present a good image, and sometimes maybe a little shock in there. You can go from Alice Cooper, Kiss, Slipknot, and whoever you want to throw in that realm. They're equally hated as much as they're equally loved. And I don't know, I think being hated is maybe better. Any hate yet? Yeah, well, I mean, what's interesting is that we had talked about this, that every single, review or anything that anybody ever shows us of our band, they always refer to us as, polarizing in a sense that, you either love them or you hate them. Mm-hmm. And that's cool for me because I think that if you have any chance of making any kind of change in this world, especially in rock and roll music, you have to be able to stir something up. And if we were accepted blindly by critics or people in general, I don't think that we would have, I don't think that people would be as interested in being a part of this band or being, involved in the army that we've sort of got going on. Mm-hmm. Bands that, these theme bands or these, mosh metal bands and stuff that are just, they put out a record and immediately is accepted because it's homogenized and what everybody's already heard before, and they look, just kind of like dudes that walk off the street or whatever, that they can do that for the next 15 minutes. I would rather be hated and know that maybe we have a chance of doing this for a long time, Absolutely. Well, you have created quality music with quality image, and I believe it'll stand the test of time for sure. Now, what about the chances, or what would you think of opening some shows for Kiss who are still out there? That would be cool. Yeah, I've been asked that before, and I think that ultimately it would be an interesting decision to have to make, but. What I like to say is that, I think that if Black Veil Brides are given that opportunity and on that stage, we might be able to overshadow Kiss a little bit. Oh! Are you going to bring back some pyro into your act? That would be cool, too. That's another thing. Honestly, if given that opportunity, I think that the greatest show in the world will change names, and the best band in the world will change names, I think. Right. And then, I couldn't do that if it wasn't for them, but I feel like after having learned from my predecessors, this band's ready to take over the world. Go for it. I love a man with confidence, and I like your band. Hey, thanks for joining us here on Inside Heavy. Been a treat. I look forward to following your career, just budding, but exploding at the same time, and it's exciting. Anything you want to say in closing? We appreciate you. I just appreciate you listening to the record, and it's always good to, talk to somebody who loves real rock and roll, man. Awesome. Andy Six on Inside Heavy. Appreciate it, my friend. Take care on the road. Thank you. The band's debut album, We Stitch These Wounds, is in stores and online now, ready for your purchase. It's a strong debut for the Black Veil Brides, and if it's any indicator, they have a bright, bright future. Andy and the band have the determination and the drive to be the greatest metal band in the world, but time will tell. And Inside Heavy will be watching, and you can bet we'll be talking. We appreciate Andy Six from the Black Veil Brides for joining our conversation right here at Inside Heavy, and for you for listening in. Until next time, everybody, God bless and take care.